This week, Happy Hour is brought to you by Amazon Alexa. Make your life easier and have fun this holiday season with single-LED smart bulbs. Controlling the lights with your voice never gets old, and this is a great way to get started. Visit amazon.com/happyhour and get up and running with Amazon Alexa and a 2-pack of single-LED smart bulbs for your home.
Hey, man, we got a big week this week in Apple news. A lot of stuff's happened. I couldn't tell you what it was, but I'm sure things have happened. I'm gonna look now for the first time at our note and see.
You've been off in Spaceland.
Yeah, I've been I've been off in Spaceland. So
I can't believe it again, but we're going to talk about the leather sleeve for the third week in a row.
Again, I'm just reading the notes here, not my call.
It was my decision, but we can't. Last week, I can't. This is the most stupid accessory, but I can't believe it's coming back again. So, the leather sleeve, not the leather case, the leather sleeve for the iPhone 12s. Last week we were talking about, well, obviously it went on sale, and what is the little cutout for in the top? What is the, is that for an earpiece? Well, finally, people have actually got them now, so we have some answers. Incredulously, it's not for an earpiece. Because if you put the phone in the leather sleeve, you can't use the phone on it.
Okay. So you kind of explained this to me in describing how it works. It'll ring if your phone is in the pouch.
Correct.
Or vibrate, depending on the setting.
Yes.
Then you have to remove it to answer the phone.
Yeah.
If you put it back in the pouch, it'll hang up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you've got Bluetooth headphones connected when it won't hang up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what makes this weirder is that the little screen part, so the screen cutout, by default it just shows you the time, right? So
yeah.
Okay. But when you get a call, it actually shows you your call information. So they have special UI that fits in that little window that has your profile picture and the name of the person that's ringing you, right?
And you only see that UI if you have this case.
Yeah, so and obviously the standard phone call interface, you wouldn't see anything because the cutout's at the very top middle, right?
Sure.
So they have to have this alternate UI to show it, but it's completely non-interactive, and if you can't actually use the phone in that mode. Like it's bizarre. Like you because it almost looks like do you remember it was like they did it in iOS 6 land, but I'm pretty sure it was like 7.8.2 where if you had a notification on the lock screen, you'd like slide the app icon to the right and it would like open it. Like nowadays you have to like long press on it or whatever, but back in the day you'd like swipe on the app icon of the banner and it would launch to the app. Well, this is kind of what this UI looks like in the sleeve because it has like the third on the right is your circular profile picture and then it has the information. So it kind of looks like you'd like slide on the name and it would answer the phone. No. There's no interactivity. It just shows it. You have to pull it out the sleeve, in which case for about a third of a second after it comes out the sleeve, the screen looks really weird because now there's just like the name and the profile picture on this whole blackness around it because it hasn't detected yet that the name is
so
attached.
It's only lighting up that part.
Yeah, but it's not instant. As soon as you take out the sleeve, there's like a delay, and then finally it lights up the whole screen. Then you press answer. Then you're like, I'll just put it back in the sleeve again. No, call cuts off, and this only works for phone calls, or like other apps that use the voice
VoIP. So
VoIP, like Skype or whatever.
Yeah. So phone calls, FaceTime, Skype, Messenger does, WhatsApp. I think lots of them do, but anything that uses that default UI for phone calls.
Correct. Yeah, but no other notifications will show up in the screen at all.
Okay.
So you just get time. So it's time or this special exception to show your incoming phone ring, but you can't actually answer the phone or talk in that state, which seems like a weird. Like if you're not going to let you answer the phone like that, why have they got a separate UI for it? Like it's
Okay. So you know what my complaint about this product is? Like, I've had. I don't think I've voiced it, but from the moment I saw it and saw how it worked, it's that it kind of locks in the design of the lock screen and the way that the time's presented for a little while longer than maybe it would have been. Not that there were any signs that they were going to change it, but it's the lock screen. Like I wouldn't mind if that clock was like, in a different place or.
Well, it is in a different place when it's in that sleeve mode.
Oh, really?
Because it's smaller, right? The
okay.
positioning's different.
So they still could do like a unique or change the design of the clock and then just keep this face.
Yeah, just like
Keep
how they
keep
have
this
the phone
watch.
call.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah, just like the phone call system.
then that's one fewer thing that I dislike about the product, because I really felt like, I've been wanting like a bolder,
Change the lock screen.
maybe larger, maybe smaller, maybe different location of the lock screen, but just some change the lock screen.
Other stuff on it. Like,
Yeah, other stuff on. And it's like, I thought we were being boxed in by this niche product. Good to know that we're not then. So then,
yeah, no, I think they managed the home screen in iOS 14, right?
Yeah.
I think the lock screen has to be way up there. Like, even if you could just put, one or two widgets on the lock screen, it would help a lot. Like, just put the weather directly on the lock screen, for instance.
Yeah, if I could have there's a lot of times like the lock screen is like the last place where you can show off a photo as your wallpaper without something over it. And now that we've got widgets, there's like even more stuff over it if you want to max out your phone screen. But on the lock screen, getting the image in the right place with the clock there is, sometimes it would be best to have the clock be bolder and just the type. And so it's definitely over the image and not like interfering with the image. And then sometimes you might want it to be just in a different spot or
Really
out of the
small,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. And so that's like an iOS feature request for a future version. And I felt like because of this case, we were boxed in, but it's good to know we're not. So what is that top cutout for?
Who knows?
Ventilation? Like,
I mean, it makes sense to be an earpiece because of where it's placed, but if you can't talk through it, then it doesn't work. So, and I don't have one of my own because I think it's way too expensive. But
I'm gonna buy you one for Christmas because I think you'll love it.
I don't even have iPhone 12, so
I can't wait to see what you do with it.
Yeah, I just get the schematics of the iPhone 12 and just work out where the hole overlaps. But it doesn't seem like it would allow the ambient light sensor to even see through it, because the ambient light sensor is off to the right. It's only the very middle section, which is where the speaker is. Like all the cameras are covered, so I don't know. I don't really know what it's for. But it's just
so whoever has one of these, write in and let us know.
Maybe it's the earpiece, and they're future proofing it for an update where they do support answering the phone. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
can you talk to Siri through it with it?
I only watched like one or two videos about it.
You're gonna make me buy one of these.
I assume if you activate Siri yourself, or you say that activation word, surely it lets you talk to it. Like,
I don't have an interest in this. Like, it's like the wallet accessory. It doesn't do anything for me, and it kind of is in the way of what I'd want, how I'd want to use my phone and wallet. But now I just want to experiment with like all the ways that this thing how it interacts with the phone, and like what you can and can't do. It's
really strange, really. Yeah. Like,
I think that if you're a pouch person, then it's a cool product from Apple. That this is the pouch to go with, but it's different than a case or than like.
Why would you make it show UI for a phone call that you can't answer? Like, that's what I don't get.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Just let you
slide and answer it. I don't know.
Baby steps. Do you think they'll ever do like an always on version of the lock screen? And
that'd be nice, actually.
Yeah,
that would be nice. Like,
because you mentioned they're only lighting up the part of that's in the cutout on this, and so it's like the first step.
And I mean, it dims. It doesn't stay lit up. Obviously, you have to tap on the little window for it to light up again. Like, it doesn't stay there constantly.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. But as you get an alert, it comes in, which is
right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like basically the summation of the iOS lock screen and what you want from it is. Look at the Apple Watch, right? The Apple Watch, the Apple Watch clock is always on, and you can put, the equivalent of widgets on it with the complications, and there's many different options and styles and font designs, and like something like that needs to come to the phone, because the phone lock screen just feels so bare. Like, you can't even change the action buttons at the bottom. Like, you've got the torch, and then you've got camera. And if you want to use a third-party camera app, well, you can't. If you want to put a different app down there, well, you can't. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't use the flashlight button that often. Like, I'd probably put like Twitter there or something.
I used the flashlight button by accident a lot, and I couldn't figure out why I was doing it in recent months when the flashlight has been there on the lock screen since the iPhone 10. So it's like 3 years of having that there. And then I realized it's a habit I started using, a habit I formed with the wide camera last year. So one thing I do regularly is launch the camera and then tap the 0.5x button to go to the ultra wide camera. And I guess the gesture or the placement is like it's the bottom left kind of part of the phone. And so I've realized that like my muscle memory is to like engage that part of the phone. And so I've been turning on the flashlight instead of the camera button. I don't do the swipe thing very often because I think sometimes you can like trigger an alert that way instead. But
Swipe the camera? Yeah, I don't use that either.
Yeah, I use the button for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would totally put something there in place of the flashlight. Do you have the phrase "pass the torch" in the UK?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay. So it sounds like "pass the flashlight" to you.
I guess when we have like the flashlight means torch. Like we would call it a torch.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But like to say it is like you could visualize it as passing a flashlight.
Yeah, but when I think of pass the torch, I think of like the Olympic torch, like the thing that you hold in your hand on like fire. But like you have the handheld torch, which is the little like what you'd call a flashlight, right?
I'm gonna start saying pass the flashlight when I mean
the US
to
transliteration.
Yeah, cool. Anything else out this week that's brand new?
Yeah, well, an accessory that you are interested in is the MagSafe Duo, right?
Which
is the other $129 Apple accessory that they're coming out with this fall.
I know the price is bad, especially that there's not the brick in the box to power it. I am in that situation that Apple is thinking about, where you have enough bricks that you USB-C properly, wattage bricks. It should totally come with a brick, to power this thing. It's $130, so it should come with that, Like, what were they going to charge for air power? And would it have come with a brick? I think it would have. I don't know, but just if I don't consider the brick in the box because I've got access, I've got the brick anyway, then I'm fine with $130 for this product. I'm someone who bought the $80 magnetic charging dock for the Apple Watch, which is just the Apple Watch charger on its fancy pad, and the charger goes up and down.
And it's huge, right?
And it's huge and doesn't do anything extra. It's just a nicety, if even that. This is way more practical than that. You get the same function basically, and then you also get the MagSafe side, obviously, to charge not just the phone, but you can charge any phone with wireless charging with that side. So you don't have an iPhone 12, but you could put your iPhone down on that pad and charge your phone. It just wouldn't attach magnetically and have as fast of charging.
Right.
But I use the MagSafe puck charger to charge my AirPods case. Charging case. And it's like the perfect. It's like it's you can't put it wrong. It's not going to attach magnetically, but like that's all. I don't use Lightning to charge it, and I used to use one of the like 3-in-1 things where it's like 2 wireless pods and then like a watch puck. And since the iPhone 12, I've been using the MagSafe puck to charge, and so I've also just applied that to the AirPods. And before I could put all 3 on the thing at once. Well, with this arrangement, it's that I'm only charging the AirPods on when they go dead, which is probably better for them. But hey, now I'll have, because I ordered MagSafe Duo, I will have the puck to put somewhere else, I guess. Besides I'll have MagSafe Duo at the bedside table, and then I'll have the puck be like in the living room or something, and that can be like the go-to place for AirPods. But it's really just like I just put them there if it's convenient, and it works.
Do you think you'll like take it to travel with? Because some of the appeal of the product is you can fold it in half or whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not a practical difference. Like, you're not going to like be able to. No one can go on a trip that they couldn't have gone on because they now have MagSafe Duo instead of 2 separate chargers.
That's true.
But it is nice, that
it's got like, if before you were taking the spaceship magnetic charging dock for the Apple Watch, and now you're only taking this, that's an improvement, right?
Yeah. I've So I mean, I traveled this past week to South Texas, and I was all this is totally remote, just me, not folks around, and I had the the MagSafe charger for the phone. I had the Apple Watch puck for the watch, and then I had the MacBook charger for the Mac and the iPad. And combining one of those things is cool. Too bad you can't do like all the things from one, but
yeah, I think like ultimately this product will be like, obviously AirPower would have been the best thing, but they couldn't do it. But like the MagSafe Duo would be, I think, it would be more perfect if they could make the Apple Watch charge with MagSafe as well. So you didn't have to have 2 completely different pucks, one on one side, one on the other. If it was just even, you just had a MagSafe Duo, which is literally just 2 MagSafes, and you could just charge the watch on one side, and then you can charge 2 phones or whatever else, then it would it would actually seal the deal as like a pretty good product. But
I very much agree with that because it is limiting because if you don't use the Apple Watch, then there's zero appeal with this product. I mean, this is only for people who have an Apple Watch, you know.
Right.
Otherwise, and you know, AirPower was kind of that, but you could do like two phones and phone and AirPods, and in this case, it's a 2-in-1 charger. But you can't do a phone and AirPods or a phone and a phone. It's an Apple Watch and something else that has that's wireless charging. Yeah, which is what's existed, you know, for ages from other companies. So
yeah, so hopefully Apple can figure it out. And
what would they call what would they call a travel charger that folds in half that has MagSafe on both sides?
Well, hopefully it'd just be the new MagSafe charger.
The MagSafe Duo.
Duo squared.
Yeah.
MagSafe Duo 2.
I was thinking about the name too. We've had something called MagSafe 2. You know, do you recall?
Yeah.
Because there were two versions of MagSafe on the Mac, and the MacBook Air, and I think, you know, the redesigned or the thinner, like in the MacBook Pro, it moved to MagSafe 2, which, you know, it's like today we talk about how MagSafe went away and people like get mad about that, and it can be debated what's better, USB-C, where it can be any charger that fits, or MagSafe, which is a very specific charger, but it had the benefit of unplugging easily if you tripped over the cord. You know, but rewind way back to like 2012 when there was like this big debate about it's MagSafe 2 better than MagSafe 1 was, and everybody was mad that it wasn't, that it was like less safe, less mag.
Yeah, the original MagSafe was probably the best version of it, but it was fine. It was whatever. Yeah. But yeah, fingers crossed they can figure out a way to do like a unified charger for the Apple Watch, because if they can charge AirPods over Qi, like I believe they can figure it out somehow one day.
I agree too. Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's talk about Remote HQ.
Cool.
I don't know if you've been hearing about remote work at all this year. In 2020, everyone is looking for the new hotness when it comes to working from home and collaborating with a team. Document apps, video chat, messaging, all that stuff. Well, what about Remote HQ? Remote HQ combines video conferences with a collaborative visual workspace. Remote HQ is screen sharing taken to the next level for the best 2020 meetings. You can easily make any website into multi-user collaboration workspace that anyone can click on, type, interact all at the same time. You can see everyone else's changes. It's fantastic. You can put up like a few web browser windows, perhaps load up your work docs from Google Docs, and everyone in the room can act on different files and discuss them all at the same time. You can rearrange the windows however you like. It's kind of like a... if you imagine that the iPad multitasking would support 3 apps at a time, you can tile them around and stuff. And if you just need to concentrate and talk, you can focus on a single face and temporarily hide all of the other distractions. And on top of this, everything that you do in a workspace is automatically recorded, notes are saved for later review, and everything is searchable, so you can quickly find your stuff down the road. And when you're done for the day, you save your state and you come back tomorrow to the exact same place and carry on with your work seamlessly. And of course, if you've got a bigger team with more companies, you can make multiple rooms, you can have different meetings going on each room, you can see who's in which one. You know, it's all there. It's pretty cool. Create your best virtual office with Remote HQ. The best part is there's no need to download special apps. Remote HQ runs in the browser with enterprise-grade security. So, go to remotehq.com/partnerships/happy-hour for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code happy-hour for 3 months free. Again, that's remotehq.com/partnerships/happy-hour, promo code happy-hour.
Yeah, I'll say real quickly, I wasn't aware of Remote HQ before the sponsorship, but the meeting to talk to them about their product was over Remote HQ, and I was running late to be back at my apartment for the meeting over Remote HQ, and so I was on my motorcycle and I pulled over into a parking lot and I pulled out the calendar invitation and like tapped, you know, there's Fantastical, and I tapped like the link to it from Fantastical and it opened the URL for Remote HQ, and I did the whole meeting on my phone in the browser. And it was like, this feels like I should have like an app and like a plugin installed, and it just works right in the browser. And I was really impressed with that. So it was neat. So it's a really cool product. Check it out.
Apple Music Replay. It's that time of year again. It's December. Spotify Wrapped, or whatever they call it, is all over the place with promotions. They have obviously everyone tweeting it, and then they have even like ad deals with artists who like post their own here's how many plays, like Ariana Grande posts, like how many plays that all their tracks had on Spotify, on Twitter and stuff. And then you look on the other side of the fence in the poor world of Apple Music, and you basically have the same kind of mediocre rubbish for the second year running. So last year was the first year they did Apple Music Replay, and you had to go to a web browser, you have to go to replay.music.apple.com, you have to log in with your Apple ID again. This is on a desktop or on the phone. Then you see like a list of artists and you get your playlists, and there you go. It was, for a first effort, it was fine, but now it's a whole year on, and it's exactly the same with no changes whatsoever. You can see all your playlists in the music app natively. So
yeah, that's the change this year, is that it's not in the, you don't have to use the browser.
Yeah, kind of. Like your actual playlists are at the very bottom of the screen, but if you want like the nice presentation with like, it's almost like a mini PowerPoint presentation where it shows you, here's your top artists, here's your top songs. Like that's still only in the web. They're still exclusively in the web. And Apple Music includes a link to it, but when you click on the link on your phone, it shoots you off to Safari, and then you have to log in again. It's like, it's stupid, right? Meanwhile, Spotify, they've taken it even further. You have all these crazy visualizations and graphs and cool charts, and you can, it's really easy to share like a little generated screenshot of, your top 9 or all that kind of stuff. Like you just share it around, and, it becomes like a viral trend on Twitter. Like, they did a good job with it. They even have like their own clone of Snapchat stories where you can even like discuss it, and they have artists showing what their best of 2020 was. Like so much stuff. And I'm not saying that Apple Music needs to like do everything that Spotify does, but I think
this is a good product. This is a good feature.
Yeah, and they should they need to up their game a bit, right? Like they don't need to copy it and just like do everything they do. But
so here's my perspective on this topic. I saw some of the commentary on Twitter of like, Spotify destroys Apple Music's replay feature again, and I'm like, yeah, I guess, but isn't it just like whatever music service you use, like you get the same roundup of songs? And I didn't think a whole lot about it. But then I'd forgotten until you mentioned it that there was that whole like PD, like basically like slide presentation of your year in music that you can only see from the web. And I forgot that existed. So I was just like, why isn't it here in the app? I just forgot that it was even a thing outside of the first news story that we did on it. And so that's obviously an admission that is not like featured in Apple Music, which is a really dynamic app where it updates all the time to present you with what it thinks you want to hear. So that should be like an alert, which it also does. I just forgot. I did not recall that existed until you mentioned it. On the other side, I have seen mostly through like Instagram and like Instagram stories where people are posting their Spotify year in review. And that's kind of got a viral nature to it because it's like a compact, succinct image that you can share, with some cool stats. It's like, not only does Apple need to have their stuff in the app where you play the music and not on the web that you don't even know exist, but it also, if they want to grab onto the viral nature of it, which is like basically an ad for Apple Music at that point, then having it be a compact, shareable image is what they really need to go for. Last thing is from an artist perspective. So some musicians who I follow and really enjoy their work, I saw a few musicians that were not mad at the Spotify year in review thing, but it was like there was some commentary on it that was like, okay, X number of hours of listening to me in Spotify, and this is the year that I've had no revenue from touring or merchandise, and it's like it really hit it hit the wrong way to see, because it's like it's the fans who are sharing these from Spotify. It's like, I'm a mega fan of X artist, and then X artist, if they're not a mega star, then they're like, that's awesome that you've got hundreds of thousands of hours to listen to me, and it made no difference to me.
Yeah, like if you're an artist on a streaming service and you're not like so big that you're literally clocking up millions of plays every day, like basically the top charts, right? You're barely making a living on streams, right? Barely.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're a band, it's even worse because you've got to divide it by how many people there are, right? Like,
so in that regard, it's like, that is kind of a PR move on Spotify's part in what they're doing. Like, people enjoy it as a consumer, but it's also like PR for like, look how good Spotify is. we're giving this artist so much attention, but you don't see, this is what actually equals monetarily for the artist.
It's almost like boasting that you're doing so much good work for us, but the returns aren't mirroring that.
Yeah.
No, I can see that side. I don't follow many music people, but I can completely get that. That is a problem. And unfortunately, it's a problem with Apple Music as well. Like I think Apple Music's like royalty per stream is like 2 cents higher than what Spotify is. So it's like, or maybe it's 5 cents. Like, but still, in the scheme of things, if you're a music artist, you're not making money from streaming the music. Like,
right. Yeah.
For all that we love, that you pay $9.99 a month and you can listen to any song you want. There's a reason why that's not being repeated on TV, because the money's not there. Like on TV, you've got to pay $9.99 a month to like 10 different services to get all the TV in the world, right? Like,
and even when you're like selling, I mean, this goes back to iTunes and the iTunes music stores. Like if you're selling singles on iTunes, then you're not going to make money from that. It's from the tours and the merchandise.
Yeah, artists were complaining they weren't making enough money from selling singles at 99 cents each. And now it's $9.99 per month, and Apple keeps 30% of it. And then, unfortunately, of the streaming royalty rate, most of it ends up going to like labels and stuff, not the actual song artists. That's like a separate issue. But the economics of streaming are not great. But from the consumer side, stuff like Spotify Wrapped is very fun, and I think people like it. And is it going to be like, if you're an Apple Music customer, are you going, oh, now I'm going to switch to Spotify just so I can get a yearly thing and a review? No, but it's just like one of those things on the list where, why don't you have it? It's the same reason if you go the other way around and like Apple Music added those real-time lyrics, right? Mm-hmm. Really cool feature. And people are on the Spotify side of the account, well, oh, this is great. I wish I had that. And, Spotify's slowly adding it on or whatever. But it was a clear win that Apple had really pushed ahead in an area. And that was really cool. And they did a good job of it. But you can't just do it in one area and not at all, right? Like, and if you don't want to do a feature at all, then fair enough. Okay, you have to make priorities and choices. But they clearly want to do something because they did Apple Music Replay. And at a bare minimum, what you can see on the website, they should put natively inside the app. Like, you shouldn't have to click on a link and then log in again with your Apple ID, and then normally have to do your two-factor code as well.
At that point, you kind of bail out. You're like,
yeah, exactly. You're not going to do it. And most people don't. Like, you said you didn't forgot it existed, right? Like, we talked about it last year, but you forgot it existed. Fair enough. Think of the 60 million, 70 million Apple Music subscribers. How many of them even been on it once? They probably don't even know it exists. They just assume, oh, I can't do it. Spotify can. I should just maybe consider making a Spotify account, right? Like, at a bare minimum, that kind of like, PowerPoint kind of experience should at least be in the music app. And then, maybe you do some other stuff as well. Like some of the like Spotify, some really cool visualizations, just like cool little graphs and charts and stuff. Does it make a big difference to your daily music listening? No, but it's fun and it's cool and people like it. Like they should do something. It's kind of disappointing they haven't done anything for the entire year about it.
Yeah, the one thing I think that Apple Music Replay does that's nice is like, we learned this last year, but come January 1st, 2021, from that day forward, you're going to have a replay playlist for 2021 and it updates throughout the year. And so it's like you've got a window of time, and it's not just from the start to the finish, but it's like throughout the year it changes. And that part of it is pretty cool, because then you get a playlist of like, you can kind of get stuck and listen to the same stuff if you only listen to that. But it's kind of neat because you see throughout the year what you've been playing a lot, or recently, and having different playlists, every year. It's like kind of cool like that. But opportunities for sure.
Yeah. Oh, well, in a month's time, people forget, and then we can complain about it in 2021 December.
I'll forget a couple hours, but I will say though that the if you are an Apple Music subscriber, two things. One is that promotions like Apple Music One, which is a permanent promotion, but it's a bundle where you get Apple Music and other stuff. That changes the kind of the dynamic of what you're looking for in Apple Music, because it lowers the bar for what Apple Music has to be for it to be worth the price.
They don't have to fight as much for the $9.99 because you're like, oh, I'm getting all just kind of in the mix. Right?
So I hope that this will just take time to see, but that there's not an adverse effect of Apple Music or Apple One, where the services are less competitive on their own because they're bundled together.
Because Apple thinks they don't have to care as much.
Yeah. And there's no way to like measure that, but it's just that it's a thought there.
It's the same thing when they took like the iWork apps free. Like,
the
genuine concern that they would just give up, just they do feature updates and stuff, but they would just abandon them and they don't care about it as much, because when they were charging for them, they at least had more of a responsibility to the customers. And I think with iWork, they've done a decent job keeping it up to date despite it being free. But yeah, on the services side, it's the same deal.
Yeah. And then the last thing is that if you really, if you're an Apple Music subscriber and you want the Spotify fanciness, then, our friends at MacStories.net, they do a really cool version, the best that you can do with Apple Music through shortcuts, which is a cool method of doing it. And it's kind of weird. It's like Apple was given the roadmap of like what to do, and they didn't do that. So weird.
Hey ho, we'll remember again. We'll see what happens in December.
Yep.
Something else I'm looking forward to in 2020 though comes from Ming-Chi Kuo.
Okay.
2 redesigned MacBook Pros with mini LED displays in 2021.
Mini LED is exciting because it's like you don't have it on the iPad yet, so that's still one device where even if you pay, for the highest price, when you don't get mini LED yet, but it's on all you've got OLED on all the iPhones, and mini LED is closer to what you have on the the multi-$1,000 Apple display, and so it's that instead of OLED is like if it's black, the pixel doesn't light up. If it's colored, it does. And so you've got just the best contrast ratios, and it's amazing. Mini LED is like an LED display, whereas LED backlit LCD, but it's closer to that where you're not going to have washed out lights on the corners and in dark areas. Like if you've got a snowman on a black background, then that snowman is going to kind of like glow around it because it's having to be lit in a vast area. Mini LED is, I think, the closest we're going to get to having like an OLED MacBook anytime soon.
Right.
And to know that it's coming to this upcoming year's MacBooks is exciting because I don't think that was a given, and it's cool that it's there. And that would be cool even if it wasn't part of a redesign. It's like that would be for me, it would be like an upgrade opportunity. But to be part of a new form factor is even better, especially for you who's had the 2016 MacBook Pro.
This is the one I've been waiting for, boys.
And you're waiting for it, yeah.
This is it. Look, I've waited 4 years. This is the one they're gonna give me. I don't even care. Make it black, I'll be happy. Like, just give me something looks slightly different. Cool new screen technology, maybe Face ID or something like that along the way. That'd be nice. And obviously the M1 version, M1X, M2, whatever you want to call it. I'll be so happy next year. Like, yeah. And Quo also says that maybe 2022 there's going to be an all new affordable, a more affordable MacBook Air as well. So even lower price than the current $999 version.
Yeah, so that's all the detail that we get from that, right? Is that more affordable MacBook Air? And so right now, MacBook Air, even the one that I'm using and love, it's so good, is the $999 MacBook Air, and it's the M1 chip version, so what makes it so good. But to
faster than most of Apple's entire lineup, including like the $4,000 versions.
Right, and so to have a more affordable version, you're competing against $1,000. $999 is the price, or $899 if it's the education price. And isn't there like an education price version that's only in an education store?
Yeah, they have a 128 model as well. That's like $80 less or whatever.
Yeah. So I wonder if more affordable is like lesser spec, or if it's that they just lower the price of a MacBook Air. Because there is a little bit of awkwardness in that the MacBook Air is it's so competitive next to the MacBook Pro right now in terms of what all you get, especially when they're using nearly identical processors, or identical processors and nearly identical graphics processors. So in having a price gap that's bigger than what it is right now, then maybe that helps out.
Well, what if they just keep selling the M1 Air and don't bump the processor for a year, right? So then in 2022, the M1 Air is just cheaper to make, so they can give it $100 down the line, and then the Pros get the M2 or what? Do you know what I see? Like,
do you recall what the cheapest or the lowest priced MacBook Air before it got Retina was?
$799, but that was the 11-inch one.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the 13-inch one was minimum $999.
Okay, because it started out super high and it got down to $1,000.
Correct.
But it was like more like 2,000.
Yeah, the original 2008 MacBook Air, that was like 17,000 to start. So 1,700 to start.
$17,000.
Yeah, we're not talking about a Pro Specs DR.
It was an edition version. It was premium.
Yeah, but when they had the 11-inch one, I think that got to $799.
Okay.
But they obviously stopped selling the 11-inch one because people didn't buy it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do our second ad break. Clean My Mac X. It's an all-in-one cleaning and optimizing software solution for your Mac. a single package that combines the most useful features for spring cleaning your computer. You can scan for outdated junk files and easily work out what is using up all your valuable hard drive space using Space Lens. It makes a visual virtual map of how your storage is distributed across all your files and folders. Easily declutter old cache files, logs, mail attachments that you no longer need, and so much more. Clean My Mac X detects it all, and you could potentially save gigabytes of space with a single click. Unfortunately, when you remove a Mac program, often it leaves behind little preference files, caches, just stuff that your computer no longer uses or needs. And there really isn't a good way to clean that craft up using built-in macOS operating system features. That's where Clean My Mac X comes to the rescue. Use Smart Scan to delete it all in just a couple of clicks. And it's designed to be super easy to use. The app will show you step-by-step explanations for every component, so you can be fully confident in the tweaks that you're making. And Clean My Mac also features a system report menu, a dashboard of stats like free space, CPU load, used RAM, other essential information. It's beautifully designed and offers a sneak peek at the state of your entire system. Learn more about Clean My Mac X and download it for free at macpaw.app/happy hour. That's macpaw.app/happy hour.
Okay, and I gotta ask you, man, before we get past the quote report, 2 to 3 new chargers. What do you make of that?
I mean, I guess this year they had a new charger because they went from 19 watt to 20 watt, right, in the phone. I hope that the 2 to 3 new chargers in 2021 are more exciting than a 1 watt difference. I'm kind of hoping that Apple eventually gets on the the gallium nitride hype train, so they can actually have like really small chargers that are also just as powerful. Mm-hmm. Because at the moment, Apple has big chargers that are slower than stuff you can get from like Anker and Orki and whatnot.
Yeah. I didn't know how to interpret that. Is there any more detail in the report?
No.
Okay, so it could mean bricks, which is what you think it means. I was thinking that's so. I don't know. It's like to include that is just not like quote level. So I was thinking it meant like alternatives to MagSafe Duo, like other form factors like that.
Yeah, like wireless chargers or charging pads. Yeah,
like you'd say like here's the Apple TV remote wireless charger, then you need the Apple TV remote with wireless charging, or like here's the AirPods wireless charger, that kind of thing. But
maybe he doesn't. This is a quote report that is lesser on detail. Let's be
that's true. So that'll be something to look forward to in 2021. Is what even is a new charger?
I can't wait. The current MacBook, the 13-inch MacBook Pro charger is 61 watt. So the 63 watt charger is going to make the whole world of difference.
Yeah. All right. App Store apps of the year are out. Who are the winners this year?
iPad app of the year. Zoom, because everyone loves to video chat.
Okay.
Not on the Mac though, because of the webcams are bad. But on the iPad, Zoom app of the year.
I'm using the bad webcam this week. Did you know about Zoom before the pandemic?
Ooh, that is a hard question.
I use all of it is like what you're forced to use when someone else invites you to a meeting. Because we just used old school Skype, for podcasting before we ever did anything more advanced than that. But like I'd have to do like a WebEx installation for meetings sometimes. Google meetings, whatever it was called that week. I don't think I knew Zoom, and like Zoom became like part of the culture this year before I had to ever use one. And my first Zoom call was like some friends had wanted to do, back when that was a thing, like a social hangout over Zoom. Mm-hmm. And now it's been used in my experience, in my case for like work things too. But I didn't know Zoom before the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm really. That's one of those things where like your brain just blanks out the before times. It's like, did I know what Zoom was before this year? Yeah. Maybe the only thing I think I can remember is, do you remember that story where people were buying the wrong stock because it's like Zoom was like ZM and then the actual one, or the actual like Zoom is ZM, but then there's a Zoom stock called ZOOM, which is a completely different company. Yeah, I remember that. So that must have been before this year.
I think that was my very first interaction with Zoom or exposure was because I think that was happening as the pandemic was like becoming a thing, around the March time. It's like, and I didn't pay much attention to it. And it was all of a sudden like Zoom is like the new word to FaceTime or, it's like, okay. And it actually is different. It's cool. And
I honestly think it's crazy that an app that makes you cut off after an hour if you don't pay has become like the de facto option for people.
That's true, and
It's
that's
so random. Like,
yeah. It's also not bad to have um, a way to pay for it. So I've done interviews with Zoom where I'm the host and I have a guest and I pay for it so that can be like the easy, because now Zoom's part of the vernacular where it's like, is Zoom okay? Yes, Zoom's okay. You don't have to know anything about computers really. And then so I pay for Zoom every month, and then that becomes how I record some interviews. And I don't have to worry about that limit. But that's a good point. I guess it's
yeah.
that people don't want to talk for longer than an hour.
Or people like change account, or they get someone else to host the call. They just put up with the inconvenience and to like rejoin the call or whatever. It's weird. But
That's true. Yeah,
even though you could like do a group FaceTime, the problem with group FaceTime is that if you have people that aren't on Apple devices, you're out of luck.
yeah,
But there are plenty of other video chat apps that don't require you to pay, but they
yeah.
just haven't caught on.
Group FaceTime did not have their moment this year, though. It was
FaceTime, like 1-to-1, is very popular, I think. But
yeah, sure. Our friend CF says that 9 to 5 Mac wrote about Zoom when they had a big security flaw that Apple had to do an emergency. I'm thinking about. So
it's coming back to me now.
And that was in last November. So say 5 months before it had its moment in a positive way.
So it must have been bubbling along like in 2018 or something. Like we must have been in the ethos, but
and when
like you couldn't ask your parents about it; they wouldn't know what it was.
Yeah, and if you go back to March and April, Zoom was in bad shape. Even though it was becoming mainstream popular, it was in bad shape because it wasn't scrutinized for the level of usage it was about to have. There was all kind of insecurities about it that had to be resolved. So app of the year for the iPad.
That's Zoom. The iPad. For the phone, it was an app called Wake Out, which I haven't heard of, but it's about like fast and light exercise regimes and like a routine app, kind of like a workout sessions kind of thing. Apparently made by an independent developer, so just like one person. That's pretty cool. That one.
So that's they're like, we've got Fitness Plus now, so here's this consolation prize.
Well, they got Apple TV Plus, and the Apple TV app of the year is Disney Plus.
Well, it's because of Mandalorian. Or, pick your show. Disney Plus is interesting because of service. I'm sure we talked about it a little bit when it launched, but we compare it to Apple TV Plus because Disney Plus is this massive catalog and then a few originals, and Apple TV is no originals at launch and then all original or no back catalog at launch, all original content, which made it much smaller, But if you're not into the novelty of digging through a back catalog of shows from movies from decades ago, then for me, Disney Plus kind of like I had the paid year, so I never canceled it, and then I ended up renewing it on accident, and I'm okay with it. But it's not. If I just count out the number of shows that I've watched and enjoyed, on Disney Plus, it's like The Mandalorian, and then on Apple TV Plus, like so many, and and if Apple TV was just trash, like we wouldn't say it's great, but I really enjoy it.
We don't say News Plus is great.
No, exactly. So yeah.
If you listen to this podcast, expect us to talk. It's like every Apple service is amazing. You're listening to the wrong show.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I like Mandalorian, but maybe like Hamilton the movie when they had that was cool. But like Disney Plus is taking its time, right? Like they're still wedded into big budget movies, and they're gonna have stuff. It's just like Apple TV Plus has suffered as well. They haven't been able to have the content production they want this year, and I think that's affected Disney and stuff. And like they're all doing fine. There's nothing wrong with Disney. Like for people that really want like back catalog, and especially if you've got children and stuff, because kids can just watch the same Pixar movies over and over again and love it every single time. Like,
that's another
once
thing.
I've watched the movie once, I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah, that's another thing. I had bought a bunch of Disney movies over the years, and so they were in my iTunes library. And I stopped that. Disney Plus changed that behavior where I stopped buying them because at first they were only available in 4K through Disney Plus, and then that later changed, but only recently. But it certainly meant, if I pay for a year of Disney Plus for $80 or whatever it is, then I'm not going to spend 20 on a new release. And we'll wait longer for it to come out if we have to. But I'm not going to. It stopped me from buying movies through iTunes from Disney.
Yeah. And it was they gave out cool little trophies that kind of looked like the App Store icon, which was nice, like little blue.
What Fantastica win for? Was it the Mac?
Oh, sorry, yeah, Fantastica won best app for the Mac. Yeah,
they had a really big app release this year where it was like, it's version 3, but it's like the new Fantastica, and they changed their business model from, they were one of the last holdouts of like, give us a chunk of money, like $60, and then here's your Mac app, and we're gonna have there for the next dozen years or something. And this year they changed to be where there's one app for the iPhone, iPad, and Mac, and they were very late to go that route, but they made it subscription, and so it was this caused a lot of drama when that change happened. But and I was really happy with Fantastical for Mac. I've always, since 2014, used Fantastical as like my calendar, first in the menu bar, and then I think Fantastical 2 became like a full calendar app. And I've always just kind of been like the menu bar is the main experience for me. But the Big Sur update, something about it just makes it fit in so well. It's like I hide the sidebar in the calendar view, and I just use that in the menu bar. It's like that's my calendar, and that's a good choice.
Yeah, and they didn't have like a separate like widget section or anything, but if they did release just top charts, so the most downloaded paid apps and most downloaded free apps, and Widgetsmith was 15, which is pretty solid for.
That's pretty cool. And by doing the top chart method, then you often they will have a bias toward earlier in the year releases to not focus on the recent releases,
right? Yeah,
because if you're awarding an app of the year, then it existing throughout the year, it helps out. But by doing the top choice route, then Widgetsmith got recognition too. That's cool.
Yeah, and Widgetsmith, just to give you context, Widgetsmith top 3, it was 15th, 14th was Spotify, and 16th was WhatsApp. So it got me, and it came out in September, right? So it got a lot of downloads.
Yeah,
a lot of downloads.
All right.
Obviously, like a lot of people already have WhatsApp, so cumulatively, it doesn't count that, right? Because it's year on year. But still, for an indie app to get like that. It clearly made an impact.
That's never stopped all the social apps from being at the top of the charts. So
no, if you want to know what the number 1 top 3 app is, it's Zoom.
Zoom, okay.
Zoom.
Zoom,
TikTok, and Disney Plus.
What did Fortnite win? I wasn't watching.
Fortnite. Oh yeah, Fortnite's not even on the store. You actually made me forget. That's actually hilarious. I was like, look at this chat. I was like, yeah, Fortnite's been on it. Oh yeah, that's actually funny. Yeah.
All right. Well, how have you been enjoying Fitness Plus?
I've been loving it.
Because you're an Apple One. You're an Apple One Premier customer. So
Apple One Premier that did renew.
Finally, that's been a mess. Like I've had so many receipts for services. It feels like I've paid more in the last month for services than ever. And then there's been some refunds, but it's so hard to track. It's like.
Yeah, I had a refund yesterday for £6.50 and £7.50, which I think is half a month of music and half a month of arcade.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go and work it out, but I assume Apple's not screwing me out of money. But
yeah, how are you going to dispute it? Like,
yeah, and they had some like weird bugs on renewal day where some people were showing as expired, and then it caught up, and there was some weird glitches and stuff. Like, Apple services need to sort out their billing a bit because it really isn't very clear.
I would have opted out of the free trial period to just have it be like, okay, I'm not paying for that stuff anymore, because that's what made it so messy. Is that you have Apple One through a free trial, but you're not billed yet, so you're not going to get fully refunded for stuff. And it's like, oh man.
Yeah, because they only give you a free trial on services that you haven't already got a free trial for. So until the quote Apple One free trial ends, you carry on paying for your music and your arcade and everything else individually. And then only when the Apple One starts do they go, oh, you're halfway through the month of music, hey, we'll give you half back because now you're paying through Apple One instead. Like, big mess, but at least now we're on the Apple One train for the time being. So
and we're so close to the last service of Apple One Premier coming out, which is Fitness Plus. We're in December. So this is it. We even know the software version is going to be iOS 14.3, right? And we're on beta 3 of that as of Wednesday. So December 2nd, you get beta 3. So that really suggests. I saw a lot of people saying like, why didn't Fitness Plus come out this week? We're in December and it's been in the beta, or not. It's not in the beta, but it's like it's written in the beta basically. And I think the biggest I think that's a fair question before beta 3 came out, but once beta 3 came out, it's like, okay, well now we're another few days away at least.
Yeah, you got like another week of lead time on it.
Yeah.
And I will say, iOS 14.3 on my phone has been pretty buggy. I'll be honest, like search doesn't load sometimes. When I'm listening to music through AirPods, sometimes it goes really crackly, like that. So I'm glad there's been a beta 3 because I was having a lot of troubles on beta 2. But even on beta 3, my Spotlight doesn't load very well. Like, I don't know. Hopefully it gets tidied up by the time it ships. But yeah, beta 3, iOS 14.3, I'm not very happy with, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and beta or iOS 14.3, I didn't realize this, but app clips,
Mm-hmm.
the fancy code QR and NFC tags in the wild that you either scan or put your phone near, and they launch a clip of an app, not an entire app, but just the feature that you need. On my trip to South Texas this past week, I discovered mine about 2 in the morning, and the first one in the wild that I've seen, and it was at a gas pump, and it was Exxon, and they've had like Apple Pay in their app where you download their app, and it's just because they don't take Apple Pay at the pump that you use their app for Apple Pay. And it's kind of like more technology than you really need. It's not
Yeah.
it's not as convenient than just using your card at that point. But I guess if you want the points or something. But yeah, it was an app clip for that, and it had the fancy QR code. It said Apple App Clip, and and by fancy I mean like it's round. It's not just a box. It's their unique pattern that looks really nice. I scanned that. The NFC trick didn't work. Even though it said put your phone near it, didn't do anything. I scanned it with the camera, and it's had like the alert, and then it said like no URL basically. Below that was the old school URL,
I was
QR
code.
old school QR code, just square black and white box, and that one worked for the app clip. So that activated the app clip, but just took you to a URL, and then it installed the app clip and like instantly because it's so small. And then there's a third sticker which was for like Google Pay or something, I guess. I don't know. But I did the unlabeled box that was below the app clip, and that worked. And the first time I saw it was after I paid for gas, but on the way back on that trip, I made a point to use it. And yeah, it's cool. As far as I can tell, by sharing that QR code publicly, anyone could scan it and then pay for gas at that pump, and then whoever was there would just benefit from it. But
Just pay it forward, yeah.
yeah.
Well, hopefully they fix it so the actual app clip part works.
Yeah, and then I saw, and I tweeted, I saw my first experience with an app clip in the wild. It was actually pretty cool. And I don't think it was widely known that these things were out there. And I even stopped at other Exxon gas stations on my trip and never saw another one. So it's like one, it was in the middle of nowhere. But it had it and it worked, halfway. But then people were showing me that in iOS 14.3, the release notes, it mentions app clips specifically. And it's like, that's what activates app clips in the software. And that I think beta 3 had a different behavior than beta 2. And so maybe that was part of it not working. Was
they finally got it fixed? Yeah, or got it finished.
Yeah. So app clips.
Although if it's kind of weird that they're already on the pumps. If they thought ahead of the operating system actually being out. Yeah, it's strange.
I mean, maybe they just received some marketing material and put it out there. But...
Yeah. On the back it said, "Don't put this up until December 16th," but no one read it.
Yeah. Because it's like it was far away from civilization, I will say. So
that's funny.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully Fitness Plus will be out next week, maybe with 4.3.
Yeah, I would get in shape for Fitness Plus for sure.
Okay, just finally, there are interesting rumors that Apple's going to have announced some kind of new hardware product update next week on December 8th.
It's gym equipment.
Maybe. Macroom had a story basically that said that AppleCare has been told to prepare for new SKUs being added to the product database, and that normally means that there's going to be price changes or new models and stuff. And obviously we've all been teased by Love to Dream, who said that you're going to get a Christmas surprise from Apple soon. And it's going to have something to do with Good for Winter. If Love to Dream hadn't tweeted that, I don't know if we'd even paying attention to the Macrooms thing. But we'll see. Like, obviously, people's minds are really run wild. Like AirTags, Apple Studio, a new Apple TV update. Like, it's not going to. I don't think it's going to happen. Like, it's so close to Christmas. Apple's never released products that are that significant, that close to this side of
They
Christmas.
released December products when they were promised 6 months before, and they were trying to make it into the year deadline on a Mac Pro or an iMac Pro or delayed AirPods. Or it's like
the AirPods came out December 16th because they were late, but they were meant to come out in October.
Yeah,
I don't think they're just going to turn around next week and be like, "Here's this entirely new product we haven't actually announced yet."
My non-jokey guess when I saw that something new's coming was like a battery case for the iPhone 12. So it's not
a terrible guess.
It always comes out at weird times, but good for winter. I don't know. Space heater, like gloves. I don't know.
iPod socks.
iPod socks.
Yeah. But anyway,
isn't that the pouch though? So
yeah, I guess it is kind of like the pouch. Yeah. The iPod sucks with a random screen in, so you can't actually answer the phone with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll see next week if something or nothing happens.
What do you think about that Apple Care being told to expect new SKUs? In my experience, it's like Apple Care finds their news from Apple blogs, and that's a weird thing. But I guess it's not like a mass email saying expect new SKUs, everyone. Because like, what do you do? What is your change in behavior then?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see this communication, but Mac Rumor says it's happened before, like when they announced the 16-inch MacBook Pro update or the 13-inch MacBook Pro in May 2020. So
maybe it's like don't take off. It's what you do. You know, sorry, it's winter or December, but don't take off.
I mean, it could just be like a new GPU option for the MacBook Pro. Or so. Do you know what I mean? Like for the old MacBook Pros, it could be something really boring. But.
Yeah, what's good? No, the Love to Dream good for winter thing makes it interesting.
I mean, the Love to Dream doesn't say it's going to be a hardware product though. My running theory on the Love to Dream thing was they're gonna bring back 12 Days of Christmas. Do you remember that app where you got like free things every day of the week for like 7 days?
Yeah,
that was my guess on that one. But
holiday ads good for Christmas. We already got that.
We'll see. I mean, supposedly if there's going to be something happening, it will be happening on Tuesday.
You'll get a Christmas surprise from Apple. Yeah, that sounds more like something. Oh, winter exclusive, good for winter. I love the mystery of this. Yeah, it's actually fun, and that's part of what is so fun about Love to Dream is that they will tweet out acronyms that lead to actual things in reverse, like products in reverse that you would never have guessed without having inside knowledge.
Seth in the chat says Space Gray AirPods. I'd take that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, hey Seth. Yeah, that would be great for winter. Because you know what? Lose them in the snow, you can find them. I don't know. That's exciting though. It's for the next week, right?
Next week, yeah. So next episode we'll be talking about it or nothing at all.
Either way, we'll talk about it. I don't know.
That's all I've got.
Oh, it's gonna be a red pod. It's gonna be a red home pod.
A red home pod. I mean, red's a cool color.
Yeah, it is a cool color. So. All right. Anything else happened this week? And I joked at the beginning that it was a busy week because I didn't know a whole lot of what's been happening this past week. I'll say a few things too. I found a little bit more 5G ultra wideband in the wild. So when driving to South Texas, CarPlay in my car will show you the type of service you're getting, whether it's LTE or 5G or 5G UW, which is the UWB. And I was passing some arenas and like civic centers, and it was UWB on Verizon. And so I took a chance to do a speed test, and it was horrific. Because I was just getting I guess I was just getting the outsides of it and not in the building where it's meant to serve. So I will try to go to that demonstration facility in my apartment that's supposed to have UWB, where I got a little bit of outside, but nothing good. And I haven't been inside yet, so I don't think. It's
I mean, they've literally boasted about installing UWB like in a room in your building. Like, surely you're going to get gigabit plus speeds there. Surely.
Yeah, I'll just go in there and hang out. But that's the 5G quest continues. I had a moment of like fascination this week where I was where I went was Boca Chica, Texas, where SpaceX is doing their Starship prototype rocket launch, and they do it right out in the open, so you just drive right up to it and everything. And it's so South Texas that you can see Rio Grande, the river, and then you can see the beach of Mexico right there. And so by being that close, my phone connected to a Mexican cell provider, and so I was on like another carrier through roaming in that area. I also saw on that carrier, I saw Edge, E.
Oh yeah.
I saw 3G. At one point I saw
you really spanned the gamut of cellular connections.
Yeah, at one point I saw 4G. I don't recall if the 4G was on the Verizon phone or if that was on the AT&T phone, but I definitely saw 4G this past week. And I've seen
what I saw about a month ago? I saw 2G. Not 2G.
I've never seen that. So that's like a carrier specified thing, right?
It must be like in the UK how we called it like LTE versus 4G for a while, or 4G. For whatever reason, the carrier just brands it as 2G.
Yeah, 4G would be HSPA plus. And so that must have been AT&T. I don't think Verizon folded in that. They were quick to LTE. And then it was like they did how they did 5G on non 5G phones. They did what do they call it? Oh, they called it 4G. They called it HSP plus
Yeah, because
4G.
it was just faster 3G, wasn't it? But they called it 4G.
Yeah. Good old AT&T for you. But I just holding my iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's like like you said, I ran the gamut in terms of like this thing has like not only does it have like every radio that you can think of for 5G, but every radio you can think of back to the first iPhone. So yeah. So, all right, I guess that's it for the week, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I agree. That is the Happy Hour podcast for this week. You can follow me on Twitter at Apollo Zach Benjamin. You're on Twitter at
BZA Mayo.
And if you have any feedback for the show, you can email us together at happyhour@9to5mac.com. We broadcast live on YouTube around 4 p.m. on Thursdays, Eastern time, usually. Yeah, just about. If you're there at 4, you're not going to miss anything. So that's all I'll say. Usually so. And maybe you'll be there for a week waiting for us. But that's one way to listen and watch us as we do the show and interact with us, because we do have live chat through YouTube in that version of the show. And if you're coming from YouTube, then if you enjoy the show and you want to hear just the audio every week, then we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all the other places. So subscribe, rate, recommend. We appreciate all that. Until then, we will be back next week. I will have MagSafe Duo. It comes tomorrow to talk about. And we'll see what that mystery product is.
We'll see the mystery.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye.